One, two, 1, 2. Hello, good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you're watching from. This is Michael Essick Live, coming to you from a cold Cheshire. A very frosty day today. Code Whisperer is here. Good morning to you, Kathleen. Good morning from sunny NYC. Dreary and cold Dallas. Code Whisperer is watching from. Julie, good morning. Good afternoon, everybody. Eddie, good evening from Southeast Asia. Kia, good morning from the Big Apple. Cool. Nice to have you. If you can let me know where you're watching from, that would be great as well. I'm assuming we're okay technical sound-wise. Everything's good. Scott says hi. Hope all well. It is. Thank you, Scott. Raymond says good morning all. And nameless Facebook user says first. Nancy made a live stream. Hi all. Good to see you, Nancy. And Scott says good afternoon from Andalusia. Dave, you had a great idea to get up early here in Vegas to watch this live. That is a good idea, Dave. Congratulations on realizing your idea. Soul Visible from rainy London, Ilka from wet and cold Germany, Nancy Whitby, Ontario, Canada, Fashionista Styles from Florida, Lance from Florida, 2 Floridas in a row, Danielle, sunny and snowy Buffalo, Ivana from Croatia, Crystal from Alberta, Canada, Julie from another Florida, Maria from Tucson, Arizona, Manash. Hope you're doing good, Manash. Not sure where Manash is from. Animatris from the Philippines. Not just the Philippines, but Mabuhay. I hope I'm pronouncing that okay. Dan from Texas. Franisha from Texas. Emily from Austin. Also Texas, I believe. And Funmi from the UK. Knoxville, Tennessee. Scott. The internet is an amazing thing. It is indeed. And Dan, Texas as well. Great. Manash is from India. Thank you, Manash. And Holloway says good day all as well. So thank you for joining me today. That felt like a long intro. Hello from the Bahamas. Now that does sound good. That sounds better than where I am, certainly. Although most places do, to be fair. Lee, Sawadi Krap? I guess that's how you say it, from Thailand. And Gary is here. Gary's in Liverpool, I believe. John Hayes from South Carolina. And As You Wish Creations for You from New Hampshire, I'm guessing. And a thumbs up from Germany. Thank you, Mike. Okay, let's get this rolling today, because we can't stand here just talking about where we're all from and what the weather's like, much as it would please me to do so. We're going to talk about how to come up with a lot of good ideas. So if you're on my email list, earlier this week, I sent out an email. I did say earlier this week. It was actually yesterday. Yesterday, I sent out an email talking about how this year a lot of random designs of mine from my portfolio from years ago have suddenly shot up and become bestsellers this year due to, usually in most of those cases, some kind of events outside my control, some, whether it's coronavirus or something like that. And basically these designs took on a new meaning and they became bestsellers. So I thought it would be interesting if we did a bit of a dive into how to come up with the kind of ideas that can really stand the test of time. They're good ideas, and that you can maybe have that thing happen for you as well, so that you can have random designs that suddenly do great out of nowhere because they're solid, good ideas in the first place. So we'll talk about that today. Also, we'll talk about let's go through these slides here, actually. Thumbs up and subscribe, of course, if you haven't already. That would be awesome. Today's plan, like I just said, coming up with a lot of good ideas. And we'll also dive into the Ultimate T-Shirt Ideas Starter Kit, which is special offer. You can see the details up there, michaelessick.com/start. This is a special offer on the little book of t-shirt ideas, a few other new things, the t-shirt ideas cheat sheet poster, which you can see behind me. I'll dive into it a little bit more later on in the stream, but if you're interested in that offer, which expires on Saturday, it's over 50% off. Then stay tuned and we'll dive into that as well. And as usual, of course, you can ask your questions, anything you want to ask me about. Feel free to fire away. I am at your disposal. Okay, so a couple of comments here. Gary says he is in Liverpool and it's freezing. Well, serves you right, Gary. Heather Tim says, Heather from Tier 3 in Leeds, another northerner. Jack's Coffee Buzz is in Germany as well. And Rob from South Africa. Cool. Steve, Knoxville. Originally from Mum. Is that what that means? Amy says, hello, everyone. Good to have you here too, Amy. Okay. So, yeah, who this is for, just to kind of, if you're new here and you're not really sure what's going on, this is primarily for t-shirt designers. My name is Michael Essick. I am primarily a t-shirt designer and illustrator, and I've been making a living from those t-shirt designs and from other product design as well, but mainly t-shirt designs over the past 3, 4, 5 years. So this is mainly aimed at helping those who are t-shirt designers who are trying to make money, maybe through print-on-demand sites or through things like Etsy, Shopify, maybe even your own merch or your own clothing brand. And those who really want to build a business through solid ideas and solid designs. So I'm not really talking about, the latest tips and tricks to get you sales. I'm trying to talk about the things that build really solid businesses so you can make a living from your art and a living from your designs for a long time into the future, not stuff that's going to, peak one day and then be gone the next day. So that's what we're going to do. And today we're going to talk about this, how to have a lot of ideas. But before we do, Cynthia in USA, Angie says hello, Bo says hello. Cool. So yeah, let's dive into this today because I've got quite a lot to get through actually. So let's make this bigger and let's get into it. So yeah, obviously, like I said, do feel free to ask questions as we go. It doesn't need to be about exactly what I'm talking about if you have a random question, but I'll make sure we leave some time at the end to get through questions as well. And you can ask me anything as per usual. Okay. I'm just going to hide this behind here and we can get started. Okay, how to have a lot of ideas. So first question, why do you want to have a lot of ideas in the first place? I will answer that. The more ideas you have, and by ideas, I mean, concepts for designs. These would be the actual thing you're going to design. But before you've designed it, before you put pen to paper, you need to have some kind of idea in your head about what you're going to create. So that's what I mean by an idea. So the more of those ideas you have, usually means you're going to be able to create more designs because you can't create a design unless you have an idea for a design, something preceding you putting the pen to paper. So those ideas lead to designs. And of course, the more designs you have, that means more sales, usually, all else being equal, especially when it comes to selling on print-on-demand sites like Redbubble and TeePublic, Merch by Amazon, or Etsy. Usually, your income is going to be somewhat in line, or it's going to track with how many designs you actually have up available for sale, how many products you have available for sale. But there's another important part here, which is this, a more protected income. So the bigger your portfolio of designs, the more designs you have, the more protected your income actually is. So I'll explain this with a little picture here. This is not my graphic. I found this on Google, but this is an illustration of a concept called a business moat. So a moat is something that protects, as you can see here, this is a moat that's protecting the castle from invaders. So here's some invaders. And the idea with a business moat is, or with, attackers trying to get into the castle, the moat stops them from getting to the castle and from taking over. And this is used in business. This is like, you can have lots of different forms of moats for a business. So for example, Amazon being, a massive company with incredible penetration and lots of distribution. It has its own, delivery drivers and everything. Those all form an incredible moat around Amazon so that anyone who wanted to start up a company and challenge Amazon, they have to first get over that moat. They have to create their own distribution channel that, challenges Amazon or something like that. Or they have to, have loads and loads of cash on hand because Amazon has this massive pile of cash that they can deploy on anything. So they have these different forms of moats that protect them from attackers or from competition, you could say. And we don't really have this in print on demand necessarily. This analogy doesn't fit perfectly. But what you do have with print on demand is you have a lot of designs, and what happens over time, and I can attest to this, is you will have designs that sell very well in a certain year, and then next year they'll start to drop off, and then maybe the year after they'll barely be selling at all. And if you have a big body of designs, what you're able to do is that big portfolio of designs protects this, or is this moat around your business, around your income. So what has happened this year for me, a lot of designs, have started dropping off as we usually see, but then other designs have started picking up and taken the slack. And these are not new designs. These are not designs that I've created this year. I've actually produced very few, if any, new designs this year, but I've still seen our income steadily rise, because as some of those designs died off, but other designs came up and picked up the slack. And that's what I mean by having a lot of designs. It creates this moat, because if you've got lots of designs, there's a lot more possibility for something to spark and to take off. So that's the underlying concept. Hopefully that makes sense. More ideas, more designs, more sales, and also the more ideas you have, the more designs you have, the more protected your income is. If you have 3 designs and they're all bestsellers and they're doing great, but you only have 3 designs, then you're not really as in good shape as someone who has 3 designs that are bestsellers but has 100 designs in total, because he's going to have more chance of protecting his income. Okay, hope that makes sense. So that's why we want to have a lot of good ideas in the first place. But it isn't just about good ideas. It's not just about volume. They must be good ideas. They must be good designs in the first place. It's no good having a million designs that are terrible. They're still not going to sell because they're terrible. They must also be good. So that's why the name of this session today is how to have a lot of good ideas. We don't just want a lot of ideas, and we don't just want good ideas. We want a lot of good ideas. We need both of those things together. So let's talk about a lot of good ideas. Before we do, a couple of hellos. Hello to Tobias and Marvs from Manila in the Philippines, and Pierre. Hello to you, and FH from Dusseldorf in Germany. Wonderful. Thank you for joining us today. How to have a lot of good ideas. Let's talk about that. So number 1, how to come up with a lot of ideas. I'm going to split this into 2. First, we'll talk about how to come up with a lot of ideas, and then we'll talk about how to make sure those ideas are good, so that by the time we're done, you'll know how to come up with a lot of good ideas. So a lot of ideas in the first place. How do we do that? A couple of tips. So schedule some idea time. Make it part of your process. This is one of the things that really made a big difference early on in my business when I left my full-time job and dedicated myself to t-shirt designs and art licensing and building this business up. I realized that ideas were important. So I scheduled, usually the first day of the week, usually on Monday, I would sit down and schedule a time to plan out the designs I was going to create that week. So that meant looking through any ideas I had, any notes I've saved, but also doing a bit of looking around and poking around and following rabbit trails to see if I could generate some more ideas. So I made idea generation part of my process. And I think if you want to build a decent, solid business like this, that's a necessary thing. You can't just sideline the idea process. It needs to be part of if your business was a factory, then ideas needs to be on the production line somewhere, usually at the start, probably at the start of the production line. So you're going to need to schedule some time to do that. So schedule time whenever that might be. Could be the beginning of the week or the end of the week, but make sure you actually dedicate some time to just sit and think about ideas. I'm not talking here about designing. I'm not talking here about practicing, sketching, even research, but actually just working on your ideas. That is looking at the ideas you have and developing them and analyzing them and seeing if you can make them better. It's not necessarily, design time. It's time to think just about, are these ideas really good? How could I make them better? And all those kind of things. Okay. Another tip on coming up with a lot of ideas is to go deep on your subject. So the more you know about your subject in the first place, the more ideas you're likely to generate. This is because if you know about something, then, if I have a very casual understanding of, let's say, I don't know, mathematics or computer science or something like that, if I know very little about it, then how many ideas can I come up with around that? Not very many. I can do some basic stuff. I can do stuff like, I'm a great computer scientist, or computer science is my jam, or whatever. I could do little simple designs like that. But if I want to get into juicy stuff, into really solid ideas that really tap into that market, I'm going to have to know a lot more. I'm going to have to go deep. I'm going to have to know some in-jokes. I'm going to need to know the jargon and things like that. Those kind of things that are really going to come up with solid ideas that people really resonate with, that are emotionally, attaching themselves to people. So go deep on your subject because that will help you create more ideas. Um, Once you go deep, you'll be able to know, what ideas are likely to hit with people. So go deep and then make it easy to save ideas in the first place and then to work on your ideas as well. So my idea process, usually I will jot down ideas in Evernote, or more recently I've taken to just jotting down my ideas straight into Airtable. And then I would then schedule a time to go through those ideas and look at them later on. But the point is that it should be easy for you both to save ideas in the first place. So if you're walking down the street and you have an idea, trust me, you want to write it down. You want to make a note of that because you are not going to remember it. I can't tell you how many ideas I've had that I've lost that I thought, oh, I'll remember that, especially when I'm drifting off to sleep or waking up in the morning, when your subconscious is all alive and active. You will not remember that idea. So make sure you have something, you have a note taking app on your phone, you have Evernote or something, so you can just quickly jot it down. Even something where you can just record a little voice memo. So because sometimes it's hard to pull your phone out and type the idea and stuff like that. So anything that makes it easy, anything that streamlines your process, that's what we want. So you want to make it easy to save ideas in the first place, and you want to make it easy to work on those ideas. So when you're sitting down to generate ideas and to, you've scheduled some idea time, you want to have a situation, a setup where you can sit down and just focus on ideas. So that should be, you should proceed. For example, if you've got I don't know, the Airtable with your ideas, but also any things that help you. So inspiration things and the kind of things I'll talk about in a second. Having jumping off points and resources and things. Have those to hand, have those ready so you can, grab them when you need them and really just become efficient at working through your ideas, because we need to create a lot of ideas. That means, if we're going to do that, we need to do it fast, because the faster we go, the more ideas we can create. So make it easy, make it slick, so that you can sit down and really bash through ideas quickly. And ideas is a skill like anything else. If you practice design, then you will become quicker and better at it, and it will take you 10 minutes to do a really nice design, whereas it will take a beginner 3 hours to produce that same design. The same is true when it comes to ideas. If you can actually get better at the process of having a spark of an idea, developing it, analyzing it, and coming up with something really solid over time. Okay. Ray says, made it. Jennifer says, greetings from LA. Hello to you. Marianne from Denver. Scott says, paper notebooks. Yeah, I mean, I've used everything, and certainly paper notebooks can work. Paper notebooks for me, it's just another step you need to take. You need to then take that paper notebook, have it near you, and I prefer to have everything digital so that it's all there when I can reach out and grab it. But obviously, whatever works for you, paper notebooks can be fine. Lance says, quick tip: if you're in the street, you can snap a photo with phone and easily send it to a secret Pinterest board. So there's another good idea. Yeah, being able to take a photo quickly about an idea that sparked something, and then you can save it or send it somewhere. So that's cool. Scott says he must be old. Kathleen says she still uses paper. Clemens says, greetings from Austria. Code Whisperer says, check out Rocketbooks or Rocketbook. Ron says he uses a Google checklist. And Hello, I'm Nice says, greetings from USA. Greetings to you. Hello, I'm Nice. All right. That was how to come up with a lot of ideas, a few tips. One more thing, build resources. So I'm going to dive into a few of these here. I'll dive into these and then I'll take a few questions again. So yeah, we want to build resources so that you can sit down and really smash through a load of ideas. I would also recommend that you actually set yourself a goal of like, a certain number of ideas that you want to create every week. So, you could extrapolate from where you are now. If you're earning $100 a month and you have 50 designs, then how many designs do you need until you're making $1,000 a month? Well, you would need to 10 times that. So you would need 10 times the number of designs you have. So then set yourself a goal every week or whatever that might be, whatever's manageable. But I would say push yourself a little bit and see how many ideas you can turn into designs every week and use that as a challenge. That's something I did, and it certainly helped and worked for me. But yeah, the more resources you have, the quicker it's going to be for you to come up with those ideas. So things like plug-in phrases, those are phrases that you can adapt and use for any different subject or topic. So I'll give you some examples here in a second, but that's one of the resources you can be building as you're, researching or looking at other t-shirts or just, finding bits of inspiration. Anytime you find a phrase that you could simply replace a word and it would still carry its meaning, and it's maybe a phrase that people use regularly. If you build those up over time, which is all I've done, then you'll have a great resource where you can scan through and come up with loads of ideas really quickly. Save recurring formats as well. So I call these layout frameworks. These are ways of looking at subjects that work really well when you put them on products, whether that's t-shirts or posters. And anytime you spot those, take a picture or save the image, whatever it might be, take a screenshot. And again, just build up an Airtable or something where you've got these things and you can quickly scan through them. I'll give you a couple of examples here in a second if you don't know exactly what I'm talking about. And finally, another tip is to save puns. Anytime you see a pun, whether in a headline or in an advertisement or a billboard or whatever, save it and then go back later and analyze it. And you can do something I call pun mining, which I'll show you about here. But let me explain these. So plugin phrases, these are things like I'd rather be X, or X is my co-pilot, or vote X. So these are phrases that people know and recognize, and you can adapt them for any subject. So for example, for Christmas, I'd rather be hibernating, or I'd rather be I don't know. In this year, it could be something around I'd rather be with my family, I'm not, or something like that. Santa is my co-pilot, or vote for Rudolph or something. These are phrases that you can adapt, and they're basically little jumping off points that can spark ideas. And, if you have imagine if you had a big list of these, you could just scan through and quickly go, oh, I'd rather be wrapping presents. I'd rather be drinking cocoa. I'd rather be drinking eggnog, whatever it might be. And you can just come up with little phrases. And this is probably my go-to method for quickly coming up with a lot of valuable ideas. So that's plugin phrases. I recommend you start building up your own bank of those. And actually, a little tease, I've put together 15 Christmas specific plugin phrases in an Airtable base. Those are now included. This is a brand new bonus inside the Ultimate T-shirt Ideas Starter Kit, which you can find all the information about up there at michaelessick.com/start, or in the link in the description. This is a special offer. I'll talk about it more in a second. But I've put together just today a really simple, quick bonus, 15 plugin phrases. These are Christmas phrases, but you can adapt them for any subject or topic. An example of one is like, 'tis the season to X. So you could do something like, 'tis the season to wear a mask, or something like that right now. Or 'tis the season to pull a wheelie if you're targeting the BMX crowd or something. You can just adapt it for whatever your subject, whatever your market is. And there's 15 of those phrases that I've included in this bonus. So just a little tease there for that one. So layout frameworks, let me give you some examples of those. Layout frameworks are, in fact, let me take a couple of questions before we do that. Or just one question, I think. Animatrix says, question here, Michael. Talking about ideas, did you ever try trend setting, like coming up with a trend set of words? Usually we see those at Amazon. I'm not really sure about that. Well, I'm not familiar with that phrase, I don't think. So if you could explain it, Animatrix, I might be able to comment a bit more on it, but I'm not familiar with the term trend set of words. Not really sure what it means. Maybe if you could elaborate, I'll help you. Hello, I'm nice. Is this like how you could become a better YouTuber? No, this is about how to create good t-shirt designs. Sorry, hello, I'm nice. You might be in the wrong place. D-Guard, hello for Texas. Hello to you. And Scott says, what about us who have all your stuff? Bonus for us too, pretty please. Yes, Scott, of course. In fact, that you already have access to that, Scott. If you're inside the Ideas Workshop, you already have those exact 15 plugin phrases, Christmas phrases. They're inside the plugin phrase directory. Okay, let's carry on here. Layout frameworks. Let me give you some examples of what I mean by this. So layout frameworks are things like, these are basically usually visually led ideas that you can use to spot, you can look at them from any topic. So here's a really simple one. This is just a checklist. So this, you could say, like a checklist framework that's been applied to Christmas. So the checklist is like nice, naughty. This one's obviously for the game that everyone's playing, Super Sus, Among Us game. So a checklist kind of framework, you could adapt it for your subject or topic, whatever that might be. Another one, here's one which is like a wanted poster. Wanted, dead or alive, such and such. And then, some more details and stuff. That's a layout approach that you could attach to any subject or topic. So, for example, Christmas, wanted for the crime of stealing naughty children, Krampus, and you could have a picture of Krampus. Or wanted for running off with the sleigh, I don't know, Rudolph or something like that. So you can see how you can adapt it for different topics and different subjects, and you can put an individual or a character in there and create a funny design off the back of that. Elf food groups. I saw this one today on $6 shirts, I think. Again, this is what I would call a layout framework. The food group, the food triangle kind of pyramid thing. In this case, it's been applied to elves. I think this is a reference to the film Elf, where he talks about elf food groups. But you could see how this could work for other subjects and topics and niches as well. I mean, you could make a Bigfoot food group where you list out funny things that Bigfoot might eat. Or you could do it more seriously and list out, serious food groups around, I don't know, it could be a vegan food pyramid or something like that. But the point is that these are layout frameworks, and I recommend that you keep an eye out for things like this, where you could look at the design and kind of separate the subject of the design from the framework that's gone into it. So, elves or Christmas versus pyramid food groups, wanted posters, and then like checklists. And again, you could just build up your own resource of these things and really get, when you sit down to come up with ideas, you've got all these jumping off points that you can just run down really quickly. So I hope that makes sense. Scott's not in. Sorry, no, Scott. Well, Scott, if you've got the ultimate t-shirt idea starter kit, then it's in there. And Bo says, awesome. Thanks for making them available to us too. No problem, Bo. Okay, how to come up with a lot of ideas. Pun mining, last one here. Pun mining, I just saw this one today. I'll give you a quick example. I think this was on Look Human. Tis the breeze, son. So obviously this is a phrase, tis the season, but instead of season, we've got brie. Brie rhymes with sea, so we've got tis the breezin'. So a funny Christmas idea for people who like cheese or specifically like brie. So pun mining is when you find a pun like this and you figure out, you analyze and deconstruct it, you figure out what's going on, and then you kind of reverse engineer it to come up with other ideas. So when we look at this pun, what we can see is that brie rhymes with the word or the sound sea. So sea as in season, but the actual word or the sound it's replaced is just the first part, sea. So brie rhymes with sea. Once you know that, you can then go and look for other phrases or sayings where sea is present, the sound sea or the word sea, and then replace it with brie. So I just did this really quickly off the top of my head. What are some phrases that include the sound or the word sea? And I came up with a few here, like from sea to shining sea. You could do a design that was like from brie to shining brie. It's a bit daft and weird, but it could work. Oh, say can you see? Oh, say can you brie? Could be another brie-inspired design. Or instead of see you later, brie you later. So again, not saying these are killer ideas or jokes by any stretch, but that's an example of pun mining. You find a pun, you deconstruct it, you figure out what the rhyming word or the rhyming sound is, and then you go and look for some phrases that include that, and then you can come up with some of your own. So pun mining is another way I've used over the years to come up with a lot of ideas. And once you find something like this, as you can see here, just with for a few seconds of work or minutes of thought, I came up with 3 simple ideas, all of which I think could work and could produce a decent design. But if you actually sat down and did that consistently, or you really spent a lot more time on it, you could see how one simple pun could actually lead to 10, 20, 30 different ideas for designs. In fact, you could actually get to the point where you've got too many ideas and you have to really break them down into the best. when you find a real pun that really works. It is like gold mining. It's like finding that thread of gold in the hills, and then you find, you're going back and you're just finding more and more and more. So pun mining is another good approach to use to help you come up with a lot of ideas. Okay, before we do that one, Brenda says, thanks for all your help, Michael. Thanks from sunny North Carolina. No problem, Brenda. Thank you. I should just say as well, if you want to ask questions, please continue to do so. You don't have to ask me about what I'm talking about, but I will leave some time at the end to answer questions as well. Okay, so that's pun mining, how to come up with good ideas. So we've spoken about how to come up with a lot of ideas. How do we make sure those ideas are good? So this is one little sketch I did a while ago when I wrote about how to decide what ideas you should actually work on. So let's say you've got 100 ideas. How are you going to figure out which ones you should work on? How are you going to figure out which ones are better or not so good? I've got a tool that helps me with that, but here's a little illustration that kind of illustrates the point. So what we're really aiming for is, or the ideal would be an idea that's right here in the sweet spot. So it's something that is protectable. By that, I mean your idea is not really super simple. It's not a love heart. It's not an icon on a shirt. It's not a simple word or phrase, but it's something that you've put some effort into. For example, a wanted poster for Santa. Wanted, Santa steals all my cookies and milk. Wanted poster for Santa, Christmas idea. That's protectable. You're going to do your own illustration. You're going to have come up with all the jokes and all the text. You're going to design it so it looks really nice. That's protectable. It's copyright protectable. It means that your design is actually going to be, if someone copied it, you could actually get it taken down. Now, if you wrote a simple text design that was like, I don't know, I love Santa, that's not protectable. It's just simple text. It's not going to be really copyrightable, and you're not really building something of value. So if you have 100 designs that are just simple text designs, the value is really quite low. Whereas if you have 100 designs and each one features some custom illustration, you put some effort in, it's copyrightable, the value of that portfolio is much bigger. So that's what protectable means. On trend, so this is kind of broad, but is there some kind of trend that you can attach this design to? It could be a seasonal trend like Christmas. It could be a long-term trend like climate change or I don't know, Black Lives Matter or something. Is there some kind of trend that's going on that you can attach this design to? Does it have some relation to? If it does, that's good. If not, maybe it's not so great. Ideally, we want to get all 4 of these, but even if you only have 1 or 2 or 3, that's still pretty good. Original. So ideas should be original. That's what good ideas are, especially if you want to build a brand. Originality is key. You can't build a solid brand if all your designs are slight variations of designs that you've seen elsewhere. So you really need to spend some time thinking about, what makes this design original? How can you bring something new to the party? And also undercuttable. And by that, I mean, where you're going to distribute this design, is that going to be somewhere where it's less likely to be copied? For example, Merch by Amazon, even though it's a great platform and I use it and make a lot of money from it, it isn't the best, for putting original stuff because it gets copied, especially if it starts selling. I have a collection of designs recently that have been selling really well on Etsy. I haven't put them on Merch by Amazon because I'm a bit concerned that once I do, they'll be undercut and they'll start selling on there. So I'm quite happy right now to keep these designs on Etsy alone and see them selling really well. So that's just a question of really, where your design's going to end up. A really good example is, for example, I have designs that are licensed by Hot Topic and Spencer's. Those designs are completely protected. That income is almost completely protected because no one can come in with a design like mine and copy it and license it to Spencer's. I mean, they could try, but it's going to be really difficult. It's not like, Merch by Amazon or Redbubble where someone can copy your design. So that's another part of the scenario. So let me take a couple of questions because I feel like I covered a lot of ground there really quickly. Brenda, quick question. I like paper books, but with all the digital copy of your starter kit, have updates that we can get, trying to decide which version to get. Brenda, the starter kit includes there's a physical bundle or there's a digital bundle. So the physical bundle includes the physical book, paperback book, physical posters, stickers, and all the digital stuff as well. So if you like paper stuff, and I like to flick through books and get ideas that way as well, then you can go for the paper version and you will get the latest. It's just been updated. The version of the paperback book is the latest version. So you'll get that as well. Okay, Ron, isn't Etsy the worst for copycats? Every platform has its copycat issues. I would say the problem with merch is if something takes off, it's very easy for it to be identified and then to be copied. Etsy does have copycats, but I've not seen the same level of copycat action on Etsy as I have on Merch by Amazon. Emily, will those be added to the course for those of us taking it? Not sure what you're referring to, Emily. You're talking about the something from a few seconds ago. Emily, clarify what your question is about and I will answer it, please. Thank you. Fashionistas, who do you use to print your items on Etsy? I use a combination, but usually it is Printify with, there's a few different companies via Printify, but I have used Monster Digital and gosh, what's the other one that's just gone out of my head? Dream Junction is probably my other favorite one on Printify. I also use Printful for some products that I can't get in other ways, but yeah, I do have if you go to michaelessick.com, scroll down, there's a link to an article there called The Best Prints on Demand Companies, and I go into a deep dive on each of them. Phoenicia. I always get your name wrong. What do you use for Etsy integration that is your favorite or best-selling POD provider? Oh, I think I just answered that one. So yeah, Printify using Dream Junction or Monster Digital, those are pretty good. T-Shirt and Sons in the UK. But again, if you go to my website, I keep that blog updated, and yeah, you can see this there as well. Speediest Chief, how can we find out more about getting our designs officially licensed? It's a good question. I think I'm not sure off the top of my head. I mean, you could do some Googling around art licensing and see what information's out there. It is a topic that I think I'm going to tackle at some point in the future because people have asked me about it for a while. I have taught it previously in one of my previous courses, but that's a little bit out of date now, so I think it needs an update. So thanks for the reminder. I will. It is on my list of topics to cover in the future. Ray says, Merch UK doesn't show BSR now, so copycats will struggle to know if your designs are doing well. This is a good thing. Yes, Ray, absolutely. That is good. I didn't know that. I don't know. I know that BSRs disappeared a while ago on the US, but then they came back. So we'll see what happens there. Hi to you, Jas. And Jeanette. Hi, this is Ange from Chicago. How do I copyright my design? If you want to copyright your design, you can do so, but I don't really recommend it. It's quite expensive to do, especially if you're creating a lot of ideas. And it's not actually that big of a deal. Like, you don't need to have your design registered copyright, because as soon as you create something, it's actually automatically copyright protected. So I've never done it myself because of the price and stuff. The only really position where I would really go and register your copyright is if you have a design that you are pretty sure is going to get copied by a big name or something like that. Otherwise, I think it's not necessarily a great use of your time and your income. Ron, I try to use original phrases based on what niche or trend seems to be selling, but I think the challenge is getting my design to show up in keyword searches. Yeah, that can be a problem, but again, it does come down to scale. If you've got quite a lot of designs out there, then you don't have to stress and strain about every single design. Like, so many of my designs, especially those that have started popping this year randomly, there was no clear market for those designs. It was a funny idea that I liked. I did my best to keyword it as best I could, and then I put it out there. And because I have a lot of designs like that, some of them do well. They pop. So there is obviously keywords is a big subject. I've done a big video on that in the past. You can find it on my YouTube channel. But I would say it's not the be all and end all. And especially if you're thinking long term, building a big portfolio of quality designs that you can then license offline and stuff like that. when I'm licensing designs to Hot Topic, keywords are not an issue. That doesn't matter at all. They're going to stock them in the stores. They're going to, it's going to be based on footfall and stuff like that. So yeah, it is important for POD, but I wouldn't over stress about it. Enna Holloway, the trademark process through USPTO in the US starts at 2:30. Yeah, that's trademark. That's a different subject to copyright. I have got registered trademarks for my brand names and stuff, but that's different from copyright. Lance, does it make sense to create an Etsy store to focus on a particular product like pillows, totes, or mugs, as opposed to having one design offered on different products in the same shop? Yes, thanks, Lance. You did ask me this, I remember now. It can do in certain cases, but personally, I would, if the designs are going to be very similar around the same topic, around the same niche, then I would keep them on the same store, because I think you have more opportunities to promote, to cross promote and do stuff and offers and drive people back to your store. I wouldn't necessarily, we're going through this at the moment with one of our Etsy stores. We're just keeping it all on one account. So we've got posters on this, posters of the same designs, t-shirts of the same designs. And I think it makes sense to just keep them under one, because they're all the same designs and they're on the same topic. Of course, if you're doing completely different markets and completely different niches, then I would probably split them off. N. Holloway says copyright is for musical or written works, as well as creative work, artistic work. You have copyright of all your designs when you create them, if they are original designs. Corey, how many designs do you create a day? Right now, less than zero. Well, I can't do less than zero. Less than one a day. But back in my heyday, and why I have, I don't know, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 designs, I was creating anywhere between 5 and 10 a day, usually 40, 50 a week, something like that. Matthias, great content, Michael. I just checked the paper bundle. The shipping costs look a bit on the high side, or did I do something wrong? Depends where you are, Matthias, but the shipping for the poster is probably the thing that pushes it over the edge a little bit. It does get a bit expensive, because we are shipping a book and a poster, and we have to ship them separately. So yeah, if depending on where you are, it can be a little bit expensive. But that's the price of me getting them to you, I'm afraid. We charge you exactly what it costs on the to do the shipping. Okay, let me just run through these quick tips about how to come up with good ideas, and then I'll dive into the ultimate t-shirt idea starter kit and give you some more details on that. So just some of the questions to ask yourself when you're trying to decide, should I work on this idea versus this idea? How do we know if we've got a good idea? Does it have a strong hook? Does your idea have a good hook? So if you go back and look at some of the design review sessions we've done this year, that's one of the questions I come back to. Where's the hook in this joke? Where's the joke? Where's the thing that really causes people to like it or to find it funny? Does it use a familiar reference to your market? So, for example, plug-in phrases, they're a form of a reference. Are those references going to be familiar to your market, to the people you're trying to reach? Is there a market for people who would buy something like this? So even if you've got, for example, a lot of my designs, they're simple pun jokes. They are about random phrases or objects or whatever it might be. Is there a market who would buy something? That doesn't necessarily mean that there has to be people who, if I come up with a pun about, I don't know, what have I got in front of me? A pen, for example. Obviously, people do buy pens, but, are there people who are passionate about like $2 biros or whatever or something like that? No. So if I do a joke about biro pens, who's my market for that? Well, if the pun is strong, if the joke is strong enough, you don't necessarily need to have a market that are passionate about the object or the subject, because there is a market around simple, funny puns and jokes. Whether it's greeting cards or t-shirts or whatever, there's a clear market for people who just like funny puns, and they don't necessarily need to be about a subject that they're interested in. So that could be something to consider as well. Don't over worry, but is there a market? Can you identify a market? So for that example, yes, I can identify a market. It's people who find funny puns and play on words funny, and they like jokes, and it appeals to them. So yeah, that's definitely a market. Is it still going to make sense in 3 years? That could be a good thing to to weigh your ideas. Is this an idea that's really just about something that's happening right now? For example, I can give you my prediction. I hope it comes true. My prediction is that in a year or two, COVID is not going to be a big driver of sales. People are not going to be looking for COVID jokes, and they're not going to be responding to jokes about COVID anymore. So should you spend your time, creating loads and loads of COVID designs right now? I wouldn't over egg it. It's fine to do a few and to chase short-term trends. That's fine, but don't dedicate yourself to that completely. Is it still going to be something that can still work in 3 years' time? Is there a longer-term trend? That can be a big plus. So my go-to example here, like something like climate change, I'm probably going to be talking about climate change in 3 years, in 5 years, and beyond, until we stop talking about it, because we'll all be dead, I suppose. But is there a long-term trend like that? That's a big thumbs up, because that means that a design I create today will still be relevant in 5 years' time. So if I can find or think I've got the inklings of a long-term trend, then I go for it. And are there multiple distribution options? So, for example, if you're doing a design that's just about, I don't know, something online or something, or it's even something that's only going to really sell on Redbubble because it's super specific, or on Merch by Amazon to a super niche group, that's not going to be able to be sold in Hot Topic, because for something like that, or for brick and mortar retail, we need a more general approach. We need to appeal to a broader range of people. So designs that say, I'm a super cool soccer mom from New Jersey who likes macaroni and cheese and was born on the 16th of July, 1984. That is not going to be something that's really going to sell in Target or Hot Topic. It's too specific. Now, someone's going to prove me wrong here and say, look at this. But yeah. Okay. Some questions there. Okay, let's talk about the T-shirt ideas starter kit, and let me take some questions just before I do. Matthias says he's in Germany, and thanks for the explanation. We'll place my order. Cool. Thanks, Matthias. Scott says, buy biros by the carton, a lot cheaper. Yeah, this isn't actually a biro, and I do buy my pens by the carton. And I like buying my pens by the carton as well. The ultimate T-shirt idea starter kit. Oh, a couple of comments here quickly. Scott, climate change is the one with a limited lifespan, but COVID is here for good. Could be right. Mirabelle, hi, I'm new to this design business, but I want to know which program to use for design. Mirabelle, you can use, there are many different design programs. I personally would recommend you look firstly at Affinity programs, Affinity Designer and Affinity Photo. That is their equivalent of Photoshop and Illustrator. Those are very cheap programs. They are paid, but they're about $50 or $30 if the Black Friday deal is still on. So I would recommend starting with those if you're not already tied to Adobe. Emily, sorry, I had tried to delete my question because I'm behind the live. Had to take the dog out. So I was referring to the Christmas plugin. I see. Emily, and now I can't remember what your question was. Will those be added to your course? Yes, Emily, those are already actually in part of the course. They're already in the plugin phrase directory inside the course. So you already have access to those if you go and check out the updated plugin phrase directory. But I've also I've taken those particular phrases out of there, and I've done this new little Airtable, and that's included in the Ultimate T-shirt Ideas Starter Kit. Ryan says Affinity programs are amazing, and Scott says Photopea is a Photoshop alternative too. Mary Jane says hi. Infinity says, I know you will reopen the Ideas Workshop again later, but the question is when? Infinity, probably in January is what we're working on right now. I've got some big updates to make to it, but we are looking at planning a January reopening of the Ideas Workshop. Corey, any good Airtable alternatives? I recently started using Notion. It has some similar features to Airtable. I think if you're trying to sort things and really do database spreadsheet type things, Airtable is still the best. But you could try out Notion. You might find you prefer that. Scott, I even have smart objects and layer styles. That's Photopea, I think. Maricia waited for this so long. No problem. Thank you, Maricia. And Brenda says she loves Notion. Yeah, I quite like Notion for like to-do lists and stuff like that, and for saving notes. It's quite good. I still prefer Airtable for like database type stuff. And Code Whisperer says, I choose Affinity because of the price and the fact that it's a one-time purchase and it all works great. Yeah, absolutely. So much better than Adobe for the purchases and stuff. Okay, let's dive into this. I'll give you a quick whistle-stop tour of the Ultimate T-Shirt Idea Starter Kit. Because if you want to come up with ideas quickly and you want to come up with a lot of them, I think this is the best way to do so. I've put together some resources here, and it's all on special offer right now. First, Franisha, does your course cover tips for Etsy like adding shipping info and delivery times? No, it does not. Neither this, what I'm talking about, nor the Ideas Workshop covers Etsy. It's purely about the process of coming up with great design ideas. Scott still uses GIMP as well. Okay, the Ultimate T-Shirt Idea Starter Kit includes, and I will go through the list here, the newly updated, drum roll please, the newly updated Little Book of T-Shirt Ideas. I have a copy of this here. And we got these in this week. These are new glossy Little Book of T-Shirt Ideas with 2 added chapters. Comes with, I drew custom illustrations for this thing. Don't know whether you can see very well. But yeah, that's been newly updated. So that comes as part of the pack. Put that down there. So it now contains 16 proven T-shirt idea formulas, over 150 unique examples included in this book, step-by-step instructions and original illustrations. So it basically gives you a really great jumping off point. Some of my favorite ideas to use, formulas to use that you can adapt for any topic, any subject, any phrase, and you can quickly run through it and jot down ideas incredibly quickly and smartly. So the newly updated Little Book of T-Shirt Ideas, that's available as paperback or the ebook version. Another new thing that I added is 2 new mini posters. So these are A5 size mini posters on a heavy cardstock, ideal for sticking up on your office wall or next to your laptop or your computer or whatever. They are 5" by 8". The 3 big questions. So the 3 big questions you probably heard me talk about, you know, before you create any design, the 3 big questions you need to answer: who's going to wear it? Why would they want to wear it? How are they going to find it? A nice looking little poster for you to hang on your wall, and also the T-shirt design checklist, which contains 7 different little things you should check before you finish off any design. Things like, you know, what colors have you used? Is the layout right? All these different questions you can quickly look at. So again, a couple of mini posters for you to hang on your wall to help you come up with ideas really quickly, and to make sure that those designs are really on point so that you're not missing anything. The T-shirt ideas cheat sheet, which you can see behind me in all its glory. There it is. This is a huge poster, 17" by 24" heavy stock poster, comes in a tube and everything. 12 proven ideas at a glance. So again, you can hang this poster on your wall, and anytime you need to come up with ideas, just glance to your poster, see if anything pops off the list, and you can apply it to any topic, any subject, and come up with ideas incredibly quickly. I should point out, though, it does not come framed. Comes rolled up in a tube. Frame you have to provide yourself. So yeah, that's the T-shirt ideas cheat sheet. What else is included? The Little Book of T-shirt ideas Airtable base. So this is an Airtable base which contains all of the formulas from the book just inside an Airtable base. So you can scroll through it even if you don't have the book nearby. You can, you know, quickly come up with ideas using the Airtable base. Also includes the illustrations, includes examples and links to designs that use those formulas. So you can have some other examples to actually look at, which of course you don't get in the book. So yeah, you get that Airtable base. Also the Ideas Sorter Airtable base. This is what I use to help me decide which designs to work on. Should I work on this design or this one? I have all these factors. I put little stars to score them, and then it automatically sorts them and tells me, hey, you should work on this design because this one is unundercuttable, original, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, the Ideas Sorter Airtable base is included as well. Let me just run through a couple of questions that we've got here. Well, there's a lot of questions and comments coming in. Andrew, does the plugin bonus included in the Little Book of T-shirt ideas? I got it earlier this year. It may not do, Andrew. Depends what version you got, how you purchased the book. But if you email me, I'll look into that for you and let you know whether you have access to it. Scott, question about affinity. I don't know the answer to that one, Scott. Oh, some people are saying it does. Felicia loves Airtable. Kathleen, is the little book Airtable in the Ideas Workshop too? It is not, Kathleen, but I will add it. Absolutely, I'll add that to the Ideas Workshop and the Ideas Sorter. Yes, I'll make sure they both get added, so that anyone who's in the Ideas Workshop, if you're watching this, you'll get access to those too. Thank you for that, Kathleen. A good reminder to include those. Okay. Also included my first 2 ebooks, How to Sell More Shirts and Grow Your Own T-shirt Business. This is basically, you can see how I grew through my first few years of T-shirt design. Lots of articles about, the core concepts that make for good designs, how to list well, research, keywords, all those kind of topics covered in some detail. You can see there's lots of illustrations and things. So these 2 ebooks are included in the Ultimate T-Shirt Ideas Starter Kit as well. Instant access to those PDF downloads, and 5 exclusive trainings. These are video presentations I've done. Each of them is roughly an hour long. The perfect pop culture T-shirt, what makes a winning idea, how to generate a lot of ideas, fundamentals of T-shirt design, and a recording of my live idea generation session that I did in my private Facebook group earlier, a year ago, I think. So yeah, each of these about an hour long. You get access to the slides for them. These were all taught either at private events or conferences that people pay, usually over a couple of $100 to attend. So you get access to those recordings as well. I think that will help you get up to speed around these topics, and reinforce a lot of the things that are inside the books as well. So those trainings are included, and private Facebook group access is included as well. So you get access to my private Facebook group. Also, these nice new Michael Essick little red dot shiny vinyl stickers. You get 2 of those if you opt for the physical bundle of the Ultimate Ideas Kit. Oh, and of course, the 15 Christmas Plugin Phrases Airtable base. Just added that today. So if you bought this earlier this week, go back and check inside the members area, because you'll now have access to this 15 Christmas Plugin Phrases Airtable base, which includes the phrases and examples and just a great list. You can drop down every Christmas and see if you can come up with some quick ideas for things. michaelessick.com/start is where you can find out more. The physical bundle would usually set you back $129. It's $60 or $59.99 until Saturday. And the physical bundle, oh no, that should say digital bundle. Digital bundle. The digital bundle would otherwise have cost you $85.98. Today it's only $35.99. So yes, absolutely worth hopping on this now. This will not be repeated in the near future at all, if at all. So if you want to hit the ground running for 2021 and really, have everything you need to create ideas really quickly, create your best ever ideas, and stop reinventing the wheel, but actually use proven techniques and frameworks, then I highly recommend you jump on this before the doors close on Saturday. Okay, let me see what we've got here. Questions. I will take your questions and comments. We have a couple of minutes to do so. You can find more information about everything I've spoke about today at michaelessick.com/start. And yeah, let me take your questions here for the next few minutes. So Kathleen said, thank you. Kia says, is there software that helps you track which of your designs are being used without your permission? There are a few options out there, Kia. One is called, the name has just escaped me. One is called Copy Track, I think. The other one, someone remind me, someone's going to tell me in a second, I'm sure. I want to say it begins with a Pixie, P-I-X-P. I'll post it in the comments. Pixie is the name of the one I'm thinking of. That's, I think you can sign up for like a free account and you upload your designs, and then it will go out and look, and it will notify you if it finds any of your designs on other sites. However, it's a bit It's a bit buggy. It's not really slick. It's built for photographs and photography. It's not really built for t-shirt designs, but it's probably the best solution out there right now. So I would look into that, Kia. As You Wish says, I love the concrete info you provide. I have had to be helping my daughter with remote school. Will you be sending the replay? Yes, the replay for this will be available immediately after the live session finishes on my YouTube channel or Facebook page, and I'll email it out later today as well. Brenda, how long will we have access to the page with all of the links and videos? I guess you're talking about if you buy the Ultimate T-shirt Ideas Starter Kit. If you buy it, you get access to the membership, and it's a lifetime membership. You'll have access to that for as long as I'm around. Yeah, it's not a subscription. It's a one-off purchase, and you'll have access to that, and you'll be able to access it all online. JSML family, sorry, just got here. Is this the same as the Ideas Workshop? No, this is an introduction, a starter pack for people who are interested in learning more about developing great t-shirt ideas. So it includes the little book of t-shirt ideas, my cheat sheet poster, some new mini posters to hang on your wall, my first 2 ebooks, and a few Airtable bases to help you get started. But it is a scratch compared to the mountains of information that's inside the Ideas Workshop. Danielle, did you reach out to Hot Topic to work with them? Danielle, I actually was contacted by them via my licensing agent. So again, that's kind of a big topic to get into, but to cut a long story short, I attended a licensing show. I exhibited. At that show was a licensing agent who liked my stuff, and we decided to work together, and he represents me to companies like Hot Topic. And yeah, that's how that relationship got started. Peter, do you follow the same keyword rules for Etsy? Some people who claim to be very successful say they use vague phrases such as funny Christmas tea. Yeah, Peter, I use basically the same keyword rules. I don't vary it from platform to platform very often. So yeah, I wouldn't, anyone who says they've got specific little tactics and stuff, I mean, fine, try things out, of course, but at the end of the day, keywords are keywords. The internet is the internet. Search is search. There sometimes can be shortcuts and stuff, but they don't often last for very long. And I think as long as you understand the core elements of keywords and SEO, if you don't, go and check out the session I did on that. It's called Keywords 101. It's on my YouTube channel. Once you understand the key stuff there, everything else comes pretty simply, and you don't have to worry about little tricks and hacks and things. Nancy says, love how you go at everything with 200% effort. I can see it in your products that I have. Thank you for teaching these methods and sharing your information. Thank you, Nancy. I do appreciate that. I appreciate it a lot. Yeah, thank you. Andrew says, thank you. Top quality stuff as usual. Thank you. Brenda says, thanks. I went with the digital copy. Just bought it. My walls won't take any more posters. Thank you, Brenda. That's great. Glad to have you on board, and hope you enjoy the resources there. Scott, price for just the updates, Michael, just the bonuses. I have the first 2 books and the first edition of the Ideas book. Scott, or anyone who's in a similar situation, just drop me an email, and I will get back to you on that one. Yeah, that's not something I've really planned out, but if you drop me an email, I'll be able to help you out. Danielle says, thanks so much, no problem. Peter says, thank you. Ivana says, sorry, what is the Ideas Workshop? Ivana, the Ideas Workshop is my flagship course. It's a course which includes 12 big methods. If you think about this starter kit, it's kind of like scratching the surface. It's kind of like a few bits of fruit from the tree. The Ideas Workshop is me teaching you the whole tree and all the branches and everything. So it's been something I've worked on for a few years. We launched it earlier this year. It's currently closed to new students, but we will be opening it again next year. So it's my flagship course for coming up with great design ideas. It includes, hundreds of examples and jumping off points and stuff. And it will be opening again in the new year. Thank you. Thank you, Franisha. Eddie says, always valuable information. Thank you. Kia says, thank you. Franisha says, the digital bundle is more affordable. Thank you so much. It is, of course, because we don't have to post out stuff to you and physically order stuff. So yes, that's why it's cheaper. Scott says, thanks, Michael. Brenda says, thanks for all of your advice and your blog. I've been following you for a while, and your information information has been extremely helpful. Thank you, Brenda. I do appreciate it. And it's been great. I know it's not the end of the year yet, but it has been great this year doing these live streams. It's been a new thing to do them regularly every week, but having you guys on and asking questions has been really, really good. And I think it's been fun for me. It's been a lot of effort, but I think it's been worth it. And I think you guys have got a lot out of it as well. And I do appreciate all your comments, all the emails you send. I try to get back to most people on email, but even if I don't, please know that I read everything, and I am very appreciative for all your kind messages. Amira says, thank you. We'll be watching the replay. Always excellent information. Thank you. Bo says, thanks for another great session. Ron says, thanks, Michael. Okay, so I think we'll wrap it up there. The Ultimate T-shirt Ideas Starter Kit is running out. The doors close on Saturday, so you've got a couple of days to still get in on that. Save yourself over 50%, at least. What's that? What's the difference there? I don't know, but it's a lot of money. You're saving a lot of money, and yeah, and it'll be going away soon. So go and grab that if you haven't already at michaelessick.com/start, and I will email everyone later today, and probably with a roundup email again tomorrow. So if you're not on my email list, make sure you sign up, michaelessick.com. You can find a link to this as well down below to michaelessick.com/start. And we will probably have a live next week. So keep an eye out for that. So thanks for joining me today. Scott says these lives are great. Always miss them, but worth being here. Thank you for that, Scott. Dennis says thank you. Ray says thanks. Melissa says thank you. Noreen says elbow bump. Thank you for that, Noreen. Okay, so we'll wrap it up there. Thank you, guys. I'll leave it there for today. Keep an eye on your inboxes, and do go and grab the Ultimate Starter Kit. Oh, I pointed in the right direction that time. Go and grab the Ultimate Starter Kit if you want to supercharge your ideas in 2021 and beyond. All right, I'll leave it there. Thank you, guys, and I'll catch you on the other side. All right, see you later. Bye-bye.